Jason Brown. I'm President and CEO of the YMCA of Newfoundland and Labrador, and I'm proud to welcome you here to our new YMCA pre-kindergarten room at Gander Academy for this morning's announcement. I also want to recognize our YMCAs operate on the traditional territories of the Mi'kmaq, the Beothuk, Innu, and Inuit peoples. The YMCA is delighted to be the organization responsible for delivering the pre-K pilot project for 600 new regulated spaces at 35 sites across Newfoundland and Labrador. The project also engages the YMCA of Western Newfoundland and the YMCA of Exploits Valley, the licensee for this location, led by Stephen Williams and Shirley Shea, and delivered by a local team of ECEs and staff. Our project team spans the province, including our pre-K registration office based here in Gander. Without further delay, I'd like to ask Minister John Haggie to come to the podium with details of today's announcement. Minister.
Thanks very much, Jason. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here in the new pre-kindergarten room at Gander Academy. A new room in a new school. Thanks for joining us. About 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister, Premier Fiore, and I were in Shoal Harbour, just down the road, to recognise the cost for regulated childcare spaces had moved down to only $10 a day. That's a significant achievement and one worth noting. It's allowing families to save approximately $8,000 per child each year, and it's also allowing parents, primarily women, to return to the workforce. Creating an affordable service is step one in having accessible childcare in Newfoundland and Labrador. We understand, though, that a lack of available space for regulated childcare is difficult for some parents of young children. We've heard those concerns and continue to hear them, and we're working hard to increase the number of regulated spaces in the province. There are many initiatives underway to ensure families will have access to affordable childcare. But a key requirement to increase spaces is to actually have more people choosing early childcare as their career. We believe strongly that the most important factor in doing this is basically recognizing the professionalism of early childhood educators. They're amongst our children's first teachers. They provide our children with learning opportunities that they need to help them thrive and reach their full potential. To be able to enter the K-12 system as curious and engaged learners, a key indicator we've found in ensuring the future success of children through the K-12 system. ECEs themselves are educated, skilled professionals, and their work should be viewed as such. As part of the government, this government is introducing a new wage grid for early childhood educators working in regulated childcare centres that participate in our operating grant programme. And I'm pleased to provide details of that wage grid this morning. These new wages will begin April the 1st, as promised, and have a base rate for an ECE Level 2 who holds a 2-year diploma of $25 an hour. This is the starting rate for a new graduate. Early childhood educators who continue to further their education and are awarded higher certification levels will be placed at step 1 of those new levels. The steps on the grid last for 12 months and they're effective as of last January the 1st, 2023. In addition, there's a 10% adjustment for those ECEs that hold administrative positions, and we're going to provide a Labrador allowance of just over $5,000 to ECEs who work in licensed childcare centres in that region. And finally, a legacy wage rate will be in place for those staff whose current earnings exceed the proposed wage scale, so that no one will earn less under the new system than they currently do. There'll also be a one-time payment from government made directly to ECEs to cover the period January the 1st to March 31st. We had hoped to get this up and running by January the 1st, and we had to delay it. This will ensure that ECEs receive their payment for that gap period, but doesn't burden the operators with administrative tasks of making retroactive payments. It should be noted as well that this one-time payment is in addition to the recognition bonus that was distributed over the last few weeks. We've been conducting in-person information sessions across the province to attract more individuals into the profession. And in fact, those have been so successful that my team will be going out again early next month to repeat these. We're also going to focus a recruitment campaign in the coming weeks on those 600 or so early childhood educators we know who are trained but have left the sector. We hope that the wage grid we've announced today, and the details can be found online on the Education Department website, will help encourage those ECEs to return to their chosen field, their profession, and work in early learning. While we're working to increase the number of early childhood educators who are working and staying in the profession, we've also looked at trying to grow the sector. We've expanded funding under the Childcare Capacity Initiative Programme from 5,000 to 7,000 per created space for not-for-profit organisations and municipalities. We've expanded existing funding under the Family Childcare Capacity Initiative from $7,500 to $15,000, doubling it if they can increase capacity in regulated childcare providers. Those groups who care for children in their own homes across the province. We've introduced the pre-kindergarten program in schools, and you see this here today. This site is one of 35 pre-kindergarten centres that will be opened over the course of this year, creating, as Jason says, between 600 and 700 spaces, which in turn will then free up spaces in other regulated centres for younger children. We have heard early childhood educators say we need to communicate better. We will. We'll be communicating directly with ECEs and working with their association of early childhood educators of Newfoundland and Labrador to hear about their careers, to hear about their work experiences, and to listen to their suggestions firsthand for improving the sector and the system. We'll also increase our communication with licensees and family childcare service providers. I actually have a meeting with family childcare services this afternoon. So while we've taken a number of important positive steps, we know there's still much work to be done. But that work will be best done and will be done if we work together, government, the sector, and the educators. So thank you very much, Jason, for inviting us here. Thank you very much for Gander Academy, a wonderful new building, for hosting us today. I'll take my seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Haggie. As non-profit licensees, YMCAs appreciate the work being done to increase capacity in the early learning sector. An increase in wages for early childhood educators is an important step forward, and we hope that it encourages people to join the sector and that it encourages those who are already trained but not working in the sector to return. I would now like to call on Christine Penney, an early childhood educator and administrator at Peter Pan Child Care Centre here in Gander, to come forward with a few remarks. Christine.
Thank you. Good morning, Minister Haggie, members of the ELCC department, invited guests, and of course, the children. It is both an honor and a privilege to speak on behalf of the early childhood educators of Newfoundland and Labrador. This day has been a long time in the making, and I understand we are here due to the hard work of so many individuals, including both the federal and provincial governments. For me personally, I have worked in this field for over 40 years and have seen many challenges and breakthroughs. However, the pandemic opened so many eyes to the necessity for good quality childcare. This is when we became essential workers. And I believe that was when the largest change had happened for ECEs. Inadequate wages continue today as a barrier, including recruiting and retaining qualified ECEs. But today, that changes. We stand in recognition of this incredible announcement for a new ECE pay grid, which truly does honor and value ECEs in Newfoundland and Labrador. I understand that this is just a start, and we will only move forward from here. In closing, I'd like to share a quote from Ruth Wilson, which I believe is the essence of the field of early childhood education. Most of what children need to learn during their early childhood years cannot be taught. It is discovered through play. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine. Quality early learning is vitally important to children and families in our province, and early childhood educators deliver quality learning experiences. YMCAs join all operators who extend a special thanks to all ECEs. It's been a pleasure to be here for today's announcement. Thank you, Minister Haggie. Thank you, Christine Penney. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for today's announcement and being here today. Thank you.